All right, so good morning and thank you for being on, or it's not morning, it's afternoon or evening for some of you that are here. So thanks for being on live, guys. I appreciate it. If you're not live and you're watching the replay, let me know you're watching so I know who we're helping and who needs help or who's interested with learning about these types of things. So I want to go over today intermittent fasting and keto, and it's kind of a guide for beginners. I'm not going to go really in depth unless there's an opportunity for people to ask questions that are more in depth, in which case I'm so happy to go over those. And so I'll start with intermittent fasting, but I want to talk first about, we are doing this spray group using the Trim and Boost and Peak sprays, getting our liquid lipo on, and it's amazing. So Trim 365 helps curb your appetite, but Garcinia cambogia in it also helps burn fat. And so what I recommend you to do is to try to do fasted workouts in the morning. Even if that's 20 minutes or 15 minutes, you're actually going to burn even more fat. The idea with us getting healthy and fit and trim is we want to burn that fat. We don't want to lose muscle, right? We want to build more muscle and we want to burn more fat and get tight and toned. And so you don't have to do intermittent fasting and you don't have to do keto to be successful with those sprays. However, you're going to find that you'll have expedited results and added health benefits in doing both of these. And I respect people that don't do intermittent fasting and don't do keto adapted diets 100%. You might do a macro-based diet, you might do a paleo-based diet, you might do a Whole30, and I totally 1000% respect that. My background, I was doing a macro-based diet, counting calories and doing calorie deficit. I would always try to eat less calories than I burned in a day. However, what I found is I was always hungry. And your girl loves cheese. I love cheese. And so I felt like I was always depriving myself. So when what would happen is I would stop that diet when I hit a goal and I would blow right back up. And so when keto first started really gaining popularity, I ended up researching it because I was angry. I'll be honest with you, I was angry. I was like, high fat, low carb, you gotta be kidding me. This is BS. And I started researching it. And I don't ever agree with Google University. Way too many of y'all go and Google stuff. And Google is not a reputable search engine because anybody can put anything on the internet, guys. And so you're playing with algorithms and censorship algorithms. So what I did is I went to National Institute of Health, NIH.gov, and I started researching keto. And I was researching it to disprove it. And lo and behold, I started finding studies on how it helped hormone regulation, how it helped joint pain and arthritis, and how it helped Alzheimer's and dementia. And they're actually calling Alzheimer's dementia type 3 diabetes because we had such a fad of low-fat diets for so long. We all thought fat was so bad, and it caused people to eat less fat. And it actually hurt the brain. And so genes started mutating to where we now have an epidemic of type 3 diabetes, Alzheimer's, dementia. And so Alzheimer's runs in my family. My great-grandmother, still to this day, she's alive. She's 94 or 95 years old, goes around parties as much as she can walk now, and she reintroduced herself. She tried to make out with her own son thinking it was her husband. So it is bad, and God bless her, but it's something that scares me because my grandmother, already her memory's going, my mom's memory's going, and so I said, all right, I'm in. I tried it, and I used to actually suffer with ovarian cysts constantly to the point where they didn't even need to do an ultrasound on me. They could feel how big the cysts were on my ovaries. Within a couple of weeks of keto, that stopped completely. I would start to get cysts when I would ovulate, which is it's once a month, 2 weeks before or after your women's cycle. And I did find that CBD actually took it away completely. So the combination of CBD and keto has been a really big game changer for me. It's also helped increase my performance It's regulated my hormones to where, I'm going to be totally blunt with you guys. I did not want to have sex with my husband. My libido was nothing. And so I'm sorry for being, you're going to learn that I'm a very blunt person and very honest and open. And so it helped regulate that. Oh my God, I thought it was my husband. I'm like, speaking of the devil. What's up, baby? Not right now. I got a little bit of time to do this, okay? And so it's been a huge game changer for me. My libido is now normal. My hormones are regulated, my memory is better, and I did lose weight in the meantime. And so that's just a little bit of background. I have done tons of research. I read a book, which is not up here because someone never returned it to me. I'm in my office, called Keto Adapted by Maria Emmerich, who talks about the science behind keto. And so I spent a lot of time researching this. So my goal today for you guys is to get the basics, because I'm a detail-oriented learner. I want to know how, who, what, when, where, why, how, but you don't have to know that to just dive right in and get started. So again, you can do this or not. You're still going to have success with the sprays. But remember, in the end of the game, we all just want to be healthy, right? So that's what I'm here to try to help you do. Let's start with intermittent fasting. So what is intermittent fasting? Intermittent fasting is where you give yourself a short window to eat for the day. So for example, I do what's called a 16 and 8. There's 24 hours a day. I have 16 hours off of eating, 8 hours on of eating. And I'm not perfect, but am I breaking up a little bit? Can you guys hear me okay? Thumbs up if you can. Okay, good. Okay, it wigged out here for me. So intermittent fasting is you are intermittently fasting in a day. So for 16 hours, I fast in a day. 8 hours is my window to eat. And what are the benefits to this? Well, first thing is you can experience rapid weight loss. That's the first benefit. Because you only have a small window to eat, you tend to eat less calories. Okay? The second benefit is that you can have more energy. You create lipolysis, which is the burning of fat better. You actually can help with your blood sugar regulation. And even like benefits to your actual DNA and cytology of your cells. So this is usually a really big recommended diet for people with even like cancer and things like that. And so that's what intermittent fasting is. Those are the benefits. But you'll see that those that are using it will get rapid weight loss. And so what are the types of intermittent fasting? So you have a couple of different options. You have, sorry, I have them all listed here. One that's called circadian rhythm. Circadian fasting is when you start your eating when the sun rises and you stop your eating when the sun sets. So that's usually like a 12 hours on, 12 hours off sort of a thing. Then you also have 16 and 8 intermittent fasting. That's what I do. 16 hours off of eating, 8 hours on. You can do an 18 and 6, 18 hours off, 6 hours on. You can do a 20 and 4, and there are people that even do 36-hour fasts. I find 16 and 8 is what I can do. There's times where I can stretch it to 18 and 6 as well, but I just listen to my body. So listen to your body. If you're not hungry, you don't have to eat, okay? Especially with keto, if you're doing keto, okay? So what I'm going to recommend is give it a go. And so I'm going to share my phone screen with you and show you an app that I use that really helps me with this. Maybe. Come on. There it is. Okay. So it is called Zero. Okay. So let me go back to it so you guys can see. Zero is this app right here. So I have all my fitness apps in like one little area. The two apps I'm going to recommend for you for keto is Carb Manager and then Zero. These are free apps. So when I download it, what you can do, it's going to ask you to set up your fast. It's going to ask you to put in your stuff, your stats and things like that. Then it will take you to your fast for the day. You're going to notice it says it's been 2 days since I last fasted. I didn't put my fasts in for a reason because I wanted to show you guys how to access this. So let's say I was going to start my fast now. I'm done eating for the day. That means you're done eating for the day. I'm going to start my fast. Well, really, I started my fast last night at about 8:30. So if you messed up and forgot, you can go here and hit edit start. I stopped eating. That means starting your fast means you stopped eating for the day. Okay? So I'm going to go to edit start, and I'm going to put yesterday at 8:30 p.m. Okay? Update start time. So now I'm at 15 hours and 49-ish minutes that I've started my fast, meaning once this hits 16, I can start my eating for the day. Now, do not freak out if you're not perfect on this, guys. If you're like, I only made it 15 hours, or God, I'm so hungry, but I'm at 14 hours of fasting. Oh, let me try to stretch it. If you're hungry, eat, okay? It's okay. If every few days you mess up, just hop back on the train when you can. I find that drinking a lot of water in my fast helps, because of those that are not drinking enough water, your body needs water to, H2O, O is the oxygen. Oxygen helps your body so much, guys. People that get cancer, they tend to not drink a lot of water, okay? And so this water is gonna be key. So drink water. If you're feeling hungry, try to stretch it that way. If not, don't be hard on yourself, okay? There's Friday nights where I'm like, your girl wants some pizza. Like, and I eat some pizza and the next day I hop back on the train, okay? So don't be hard on yourself. Don't let one bad decision turn into a week's worth of bad decisions. So let's say I was gonna start eating right now, I would then hit the end fast button. Then again, when I'm done eating for the day, I hit the start fast button, which is going to be right here. You're gonna see my history, guys, here. There's days I didn't make it. I made it only 7 hours one day. Don't be hard on yourself, okay? So I can go back to my timer. This is an amazing app because it helps you feel accomplished into what you're getting at, okay? Anyone have questions on this app or intermittent fasting before I move on? Feel free to unmute yourselves. No, pretty self-explanatory? Okay, cool. Someone raised their hand, I don't know. Jean, did you have any? No, okay. It just had a raise.
Well, again, you had cut out, or I did maybe.
What's that, Lori? Was that Lori? Did you have a question, Lori? Oh, I can't hear. Remember, guys, you're muted unless you unmute yourself. I have everyone, otherwise we get a lot of background noise. So if you do have a question, just tap the screen, hit the microphone button, unmute yourself. All right, cool. I'm gonna move on. So now we're gonna talk about keto. So if you didn't hear in the beginning, I talked about why I got into keto, the benefits. So it's regulated my hormones. I have less cystic pain. I did lose about 10, 15 pounds. I will tell you that I hit a wall. I've been keto adapted for about 2 years. I hit a wall and I was like, all right, I still have 10 more pounds, but I couldn't get there. So this trim spray has been amazing. I use trim and peak, and I use the CBD coffee berry. I also use CBD oil. But the trim spray helped really reduce my appetite. And then also I found like I am burning more fat. And so I did lose about 5 pounds in the past 2 weeks. So I'm at about 147 pounds. I was at 152, 153. And when I started keto, I was in the 160s. So it's really helped me get over that plateau. So I'm super excited about that. Most of you guys know I work out like a beast. Like I love to work out. It helps my mental health. And so when people tell me, you just need to work out, you don't need keto, you don't need supplements, I want to give them the middle finger because I work out like 7 days a week and sometimes I do 2 a days. And so I get it. Like I get it if you're stuck. And so I highly encourage working out because it's good for your mental health and just good for your physical health. But also don't be ashamed of adding those supplements in. So what is keto? Keto is a way of eating where you force your body to use fat for your energy rather than glucose for your energy. So what is glucose? Glucose is sugars. And what I mean by that is you have an amount of sugar in your bloodstream that you can use for energy, and you also get that sugar through eating. So the average person gets their energy through sugar. Now, what we have found is the body cannot hold as much sugar as it can fat. And so that's why people that eat a normal American or normal eating habits, they get hungry more often. When you source your energy through fat, you actually aren't hungry as often because the body can sustain itself off of fat on your body or fat that you consume. And so we're going to talk about healthy fats to eat. But the other benefit here is eating keto, the brain preferred source of energy is actually fat. If you get too high amounts of sugar, aka glucose in your body, you become diabetic. Sugar can be a drug. It can be a form of making you sick. And so again, there's a lot of benefits to being fat adapted, aka keto adapted, or in a ketogenic lifestyle. And so instead of us sourcing our energy through sugar, we now source it through fat on our body or fat that we consume. And you can carry 70 times more fat on your body than you can sugar in your bloodstream while maintaining healthy habits. So again, cancer, when you are, when they're testing you to see where cancer is, what they do is they pump a bunch of glucose, also known as sugar, into your body. And what happens is the cancer attracts all of that glucose because that's what it feeds on. And then it lights up on the screen and they see where the cancer is at. And so a cancerous cell cannot feed on a ketone. What is a ketone? A ketone is a byproduct of you being fat adapted, using fat for energy. And so what happens is when you're keto adapted, and people that have cancer are usually recommended to go keto because the cancer cells have a hard time feeding on ketones and fat to grow. They grow only on sugar. And so how do we become keto adapted? You have to stop eating things that spike your blood glucose, that spike your blood sugar. So what are those things that make you start using sugar for energy rather than fat for energy? Carbohydrates, they turn into sugar. Okay? Sugars in food, sugars even in fruit. You have to limit that. You can even overeat protein, and protein will turn into sugars in your body through a process called gluconeogenesis. It takes a lot of protein, but what I find a lot of the times is people overeat on protein with keto, and then they're still not fat adapted. They're using glucose for energy. The whole goal is to starve out the sugars so that we can run on fat. You're gonna find you're gonna have more energy. You're not gonna need as much sleep. You're gonna be fuller faster. You won't want to eat as much because your body's now sourcing fat through your body, pulling the fat from your. So what happened to me in the beginning? I was, maybe 160 pounds. I should be about 135, 140. And so in the beginning, I was there and I found after about 4 or 5 days of eating a keto lifestyle, I was so full. And I'm like, do I force? And we're all taught like, oh, you got to make sure you eat breakfast. Oh, you got to make sure that, no, it's okay to not eat if you're full with keto. And so I found like I just wasn't hungry. Why? Because my body was now sourcing fat for fuel. And it was like, we got the fat on your body. We'll take that. We got what we need. Okay. And so that's what happened to me in the beginning. So what are the types of ways to do keto? You can do lazy keto. What does that mean? That means that you're just trying to keep your carbs pretty much next to nothing. You don't track anything. You don't track macros. You don't track amount of carbs you get in a day. You're just keeping your carbs super low. You're trying to eat protein and healthy fats. Like you don't track anything. That's lazy keto. Dirty keto is where you still eat things like a bunch of bacon or fried chicken wings, or trying to think of like bad things, a bunch of cheese, a bunch of processed meats. And that's okay. People still lose weight that way. If that's what you choose to do, that's fine. Dirty keto, you also still eat things that are like diet soda or diet things. Now, I do not recommend anything diet. And why? Things like diet soda or sucralose or aspartame or Splenda, and I'm going to talk about the foods to avoid, but sucralose, saccharin, aspartame, those things can actually create an insulin resistance in your body. What does that mean? Keto can actually help you get over your insulin resistance. Someone who is diabetic has an insulin resistance, meaning their body has problems, their pancreas is messed up to where they can't create insulin to regulate their blood sugar. And so keto can help bring that back a lot of the times and not cure, but help the insulin resistance. And so when you're drinking things like diet sodas and stuff, anything with the ingredients aspartame, sucralose, or saccharin can create an insulin resistance, and that can make you stall in your weight loss. But it also can continue to make you diabetic. So I don't recommend dirty keto very often. Every once in a while, do I have a diet soda? Yes. I'm talking like once every 2 months is what I do. But I avoid things like that because those ingredients are not healthy. Okay, they're gonna cause overall long-term health problems. So that's dirty keto. And strict keto is where you actually track macros. And macros is just a fancy word for percentage of fat, percentage of protein, and percentage of carbs you eat in a day. Now, I'm just giving this information for you guys. Like if you're like, this is over my head, we will get into basics. We're gonna talk about basics starting too. I don't want you to worry about this. I just want you to understand how important what you put in your mouth is, okay? So those are the types. So what are we gonna do in eating keto? So in beginner keto, what I recommend you do is at the very minimal is I want you to try to eat under 20 to 30 net carbs a day. That can be the very basic thing. So let me pull up some nutritional labels and show you how to calculate that, okay? So I'm gonna share my screen here. So very minimal, if you're like, okay, I just wanna get my feet wet and give this a try, let's talk about how you can do that. So, all right, large egg, nutritional label. So a lot of the foods you buy have a nutritional label on it, okay guys? And so at the very minimum, what I want you to do is to look at the nutritional label of what you're about to eat and calculate the amount of net carbs you get in a day. So you can double click on my screen to make me big if you need, but here's the nutritional label of an egg. If I'm calculating net carbs, I'm gonna take total carbohydrates and I'm gonna subtract the fiber. And that's the amount of net carbs in that particular thing. Now notice I'm eating let's say I'm eating 2 eggs. This is for 1 egg. So I would have to multiply this by 2, okay? This is a weird example because obviously eggs don't have any carbohydrates. So if you were to say, can I have eggs in keto? Nutritional label, look it up, look at the carbs, look at the fiber. Well, there's no carbs, no net carbs. So it sounds like I can probably have eggs in keto. So what about watermelon? Let's look up watermelon. Can I have watermelon in keto? Well, total carbohydrates in 2 cups of watermelon is 27 grams. What did I tell you guys to stay below? Between 20 and 30 for the day, the whole day. So net carbs, because you take away the fiber, 27 minus 2 grams would be 20 5 grams of total carbs in 2 cups of watermelon. So maybe we eat 1 cup, and what would that be? That would be 12.5 grams of total net carbs. So you could kind of have watermelon, but you'd really have to limit it. Are you guys following me here? Is that, if you're not, don't be afraid to speak up. Okay, what about another food? Someone give me an example of another food that they're curious if it's okay with keto.
Cheese.
Cheese. Okay, so let's say cheddar cheese. I'm going to show you guys something too. Cheddar cheese nutritional label. Now this is just basics, right? There's less than 1 carbohydrate in 1 slice and no fiber. So looks like you could probably have cheese. I'm going to tell you right now, some people find that too much dairy clogs them up, and also they stall a little bit. Remember, this is very high in calories too. So if you're eating just cheese all day, you might find that you are stalling, because you can't just eat a bunch of food, and I can't eat 3,000 calories in a day, even though it's all keto food, and only burn 2,000. Because I'm going to gain weight. I ate more calories than I put in. But cheese is a good one in here. You want to try to keep your fiber up. So what I like to show people are, and I'll show you a keto food list too, are foods with high fiber. So let's look at an avocado. Avocado nutritional label. Oh, that's hard to read. All right, avocados. This is still kind of hard to read. It says 3 total grams in, oh, let me find a better one. Sorry, guys. Here we go. Okay, 1 avocado. So in 1 average size avocado, there's 17 grams of carbohydrates. That seems like a lot, right, guys? But look at the fiber. 13 grams of fiber. So who can tell me what the net carbs on 1 avocado approximately would be? What's 17 minus 13?
4.
4. So 4 net carbs in a whole avocado. Now it takes me, I eat maybe a half avocado a day. Sometimes I eat a whole if I split it up. But so avocado are really good. Again, this fiber is going to help keep you regular also. Fiber is non-soluble type of like carbohydrate, so it doesn't absorb into your body to spike glucose. So that's why we calculate net carbs. So I can take everything I'm eating and just try to stay below that 20 to 30 net carbs a day. An avocado would be a great option. Same with nuts. All right, so if I look up, let's go to pecans. Now I'm gonna give you some really good recipes too, because guys, I'm a sweet tooth. I love blueberry muffins and cakes and whipped cream. And so I'm gonna give you things that have helped me that are keto friendly. Almost anything you can imagine. Like I even make keto pizza. There's keto pizza, there's keto blueberry muffins, and there's alternate routes to take. So nuts are also a really good option. I'll show you here. 4 carbohydrates in about 1 ounce of nuts, of pecans, but 3 grams of fiber. So what's the net carbs in the serving here? 1, exactly. 4 minus 3. So that's how you're going to calculate those. Very basic, whatever. Just try to stay under the 20 to 30 a day. If you're not hungry, don't eat. In the first couple of weeks, before I get into recipes and apps and stuff like that, in your first couple of weeks of keto, just don't eat when you're not full. Don't eat when you're not hungry. And just try to stay below that 20 to 30 net carbs a day. Okay? That's all I'm asking. Then, unless you're feeling ambitious, then add in the intermittent fasting. Okay? After about the first week or 2, maybe add it in. Now, I'm going to tell you, when you become keto adapted, what happens is your fat cells start to fill up with water because your body thinks that it might still need that fat. It's not sure if you're going to become fat adapted. And what some of you may experience, it's called a fat whoosh. And overnight, you might find you wake up in sweat. Your body starts to release it, going, oh, I guess we don't need this fat anymore. So it releases all this water, and overnight you sometimes lose like 5, 6, 7 pounds.
Melissa, sorry, I didn't hear that part. When does that happen?
That can happen in the first week or two. And sometimes people experience it multiple times. And here's my warning to you. When your fat cells fill with this water and then release it quickly, what happens is it's like sweating. You guys know when you sweat a lot, like you feel like drained, and sometimes you get a migraine. That can happen with keto too. And so my recommendation for you is 2 things. Electrolytes are so important. I have an electrolyte powder that I use. I got it from Costco, and there's another brand I use from like another network marketing company. There's a couple companies I get it from. So I try to drink those almost daily, especially in the beginning. That's going to prevent you from getting a headache. It's going to prevent you from feeling nauseous. They call it the keto flu. Only about 20% of people get it, but I always keep my electrolytes up. Also, you might experience cramping because if you have low electrolytes, your blood pressure might spike. You might get cramps in your legs. So I had found I was waking up with cramps in my legs. So when I started using the electrolytes, that went away. And the next thing I recommend is pink Himalayan salt. I put pink Himalayan salt on everything. Sometimes I even put it in my morning coffee. Pink Himalayan salt has so many minerals, and minerals are a natural form of electrolyte. So don't use table salt. That's actually very bad for you. But pink Himalayan salt on things is a great way to season your food. Okay? So some people will even drink pickle juice or bone broth, because that actually has electrolytes in it as well. So if you're feeling like that nauseous or headache or whatever, pickle juice, electrolytes, things like that. In the beginning, I recommend keeping it up regardless, because that way you don't experience the yuckiness. All right, so what else? Let's talk about things to eat, recipes and food ideas. So I will put this, I will put it as a list in the files of the page, the spray page, but I have this saved on my phone as well. And so I'm gonna share my screen with you all. These are just food you can pick from, okay? This is a good idea. And then next we'll just talk about like my favorite recipes for a sweet tooth, or things that are like my comfort foods and what I use instead. Okay, so ketogenic diet, you're eating high healthy fats, moderate protein, and minimal carbs. So fat is a lever. You do not have to hit your fat goal for the day. Okay, so don't think like, oh, I didn't eat enough fat for the day, but I'm not hungry. That's okay. You can be at or below the fat percentage in keto. Protein is a goal. You want to try to get about 20% protein. Again, if you're like, guys, for beginners, don't stress on this yet. Just make sure you're getting a good amount of protein. And carbs, you want to be below. You want to be below the 20 to 30 net carbs a day. So here's some healthy fats you can choose from. Coconut oil, virgin olive oil, avocado oil. I love avocado oil. I get it at Costco. I get a huge bottle for $10 and it lasts us like a whole month. I recommend grass-fed butter. Kerrygold butter is a really great brand. They have it at Costco as well. If you are in the EU, in Europe anywhere, you get it almost locally. You guys do really great with grass-fed butter, especially in Scotland and Ireland, because you have so many grass-fed cows. And so grass-fed butter as opposed to non-grass-fed butter, grass-fed butter creates to a healthier omega in your body. We usually get way too much omega-6, but this converts to omega-3. No vegetable oils. Those are so processed, no good for you, okay? Avocados are also a healthy form of fat. Pecans, almonds, macadamia nuts. Peanuts are so-so, they just tend to be over-processed, and then they roast them in vegetable oil. So I try to avoid those. But again, I go to Costco and I get a giant bag of almonds and I take a handful when I'm feeling like kind of hungry when I shouldn't be. Okay, I like the pecans and the almonds. Protein. I do prefer organic or locally sourced. So beef, the more fat on there, the better. So like ribeyes are really good. Things like that. As opposed to like a filet, you'd be better with a ribeye. Chicken thighs are higher in fat, but you can go with chicken breast if you prefer that. I like chicken thighs. Eggs are such a great source of, it's the perfect macro for keto. It is about 20-30% protein and about 70% fat. So eggs are so good for keto. So what I like to do at the beginning on a Monday, like later today, is I will soft boil like a dozen eggs so that I can just grab them as a snack when I'm feeling hungry. I like to put hot sauce on them or maybe some pink Himalayan salt. I'll add them to a salad. You can make, what are those, deviled eggs as well. So eggs are really good. Turkey, sausage, bacon, pork, salmon, fish, shrimp, all of those are protein options. Veggies. Greens are your best bet with veggies, okay? So things like tomatoes tend to be a little bit higher in sugar. So I try to really limit tomato. And then also starchy veggies like sweet potato or regular potatoes, those aren't really the best. Okay, so I try to go for the green stuff. So anything green, spinach I will use as my salads. You can add it into a protein smoothie and smoothie it up. You can saute it. I love to saute it with some over easy eggs in the morning and some pink Himalayan salt up top. Bell peppers, so you could make stuffed bell peppers for dinner. So take a bell pepper, stuff it with some ground beef, top it with some cheese, really good stuff. Zucchini, so I have a spiralizer. I got it for like 30 bucks from the grocery store. You can find $10 ones on Amazon. But it spirals the zucchini into noodles. And so like I used to be a pasta freak. And so it tricks my mind to thinking I'm eating spaghetti. So it's zucchini, I'll do that. You can also scoop out the middle of a zucchini, like where the seeded area is, put ground beef in there, top it with cheese and put it in the oven and make zucchini boats. So that's another really good option. Today, what I'm doing is I have a bunch of zucchini that's about to turn. So I'm slicing it up. I'm dipping it in egg and dipping it in Parmesan cheese. And I'm putting it in my air fryer to make zucchini fries. So really crispy zucchini fries. Green onions are an option. You can add that on top of, your eggs. You can add it on top of your bell pepper concoction, whatever. Celery. Celery is like totally keto friendly. You can put peanut butter that is low in sugar. So I like a natural like almond butter on there and eat that as a snack. And plus that's got that like natural sweetness. So that usually can help. Any kind of lettuce is usually keto friendly as well. So you can eat as many salads, whatever you want. What I like to do is take the big leafy romaine leaves and I'll put ground meat in there, or I make a wrap. Like if I'm super busy, I'll put lunch meat, cheese, avocado, maybe even some ranch dressing, and I'll eat it like a sandwich or a taco. But instead of using taco shells, you can use those big leaves. Bib lettuce is also really pretty and really delicious. That's a really good version to make wraps or to make alternative taco shell. Cucumbers are also, so you can add those in salads. You can eat cucumbers and ranch as a snack, but you can also, again, hollow out the inside of the cucumber, put some lunch meat, put some cheese, and eat it like a sandwich. People love that. That's really delicious. Green beans, cauliflower. I'm not a huge green bean fan, but you could take raw green beans and there's like a artichoke jalapeno dip I love at Costco, and I'll eat that as a snack sometimes. Or you can just saute it up. And you can combine all these things to even make a stir fry also. Cauliflower is like my favorite thing to use. I love cauliflower. So we make cauliflower mash to where we we'll roast the cauliflower or we'll boil it and then we'll blend it in a blender with like heavy whipping cream and cheese. And oh, cauliflower mash is so delicious. But I also like to just eat roasted cauliflower with some of that pink Himalayan salt up top. And the other thing I do is make cauliflower nachos. So I will slice the cauliflower really, really thin, roast it till it's just about done. Then I will put like ground beef or chorizo or chicken over the top with some cheese and avocado and green onion, and I eat them like they're nachos. They're so good. It's so, 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 so good. And then fruits you have to do in moderation. So like a handful of blueberries, a handful of raspberries, blackberries, coconut, things like that, because those can be a little bit higher in sugar. So you really have to eat those in moderation, okay? Dairy are some sources of fat that you can use as well. So heavy cream, I use this to make a keto whipped cream. I take heavy cream, I throw it in the blender, it's called Lakanto sweetener. Lakanto is a monk fruit and erythritol sweetener. Both of those are natural sources and they're not like man-made chemicals, but they have no carbs and they have no sugar. So it doesn't spark your blood sugar and it tastes like sugar. Okay, it tastes sweet. So I put heavy cream, I put that sweetener, I put it in a blender till it's whipped up like whipped cream. And then I have like my week's worth of like sweet tooth stuff. You can even freeze it for about 30 minutes, like put a few scoops in a bowl, freeze it for 30 minutes, put some pecans over it, and it's like eating ice cream. It's really good. Now you can even mix it up and add like a scoop of cream cheese, and it tastes like cheesecake, like a cheesecake mousse. Or you can add a thing of peanut butter or almond butter in there too with the heavy cream and sweetener, and you've got like an almond mousse. It's so good. I even did it one Easter with key limes. I put key lime juice in there and some zest, and it tasted like key lime pie. It was really good. So you can really get creative with that. Cheese, it's always recommended to shred your own, because when it's pre-shredded cheese, they actually sprinkle potato starch over it so that it doesn't clump together. So buy the blocks and shred your own if you can. If not, we get it. Sour cream's an option. That's a good way to keep yourself full, is these fats. So adding a dollop of sour cream to something or whatever. And then almond milk, coconut milk, regular milk actually has carbs in it, okay? Also, there's a lot of hormones that can come along with that. And a lot of regular cow's milk is actually majority pus. I know that's really gross, guys, but it is not the best for you. So I drink almond milk. We've adjusted my kids to it. It took some time. But again, it has to be unsweetened, because sweetened would be what? Sugar, right? So unsweetened almond milk. It takes some getting used to, but you'll get used to it. So when I make my coffee in the morning, I usually will put a little bit of almond milk, a little dip of heavy cream, and that Lakanto sweetener. And then here's, drink options for you too. So water, coffee, teas, coconut, walnut, almond milk. I even think hemp milk is I'd have to look at the label, but keto snacks, Parmesan wisps. You can buy these. They look like almost like potato chip type things. It's crunchy, so it gives you that snacky type craving. So Parmesan wisps, almonds, walnuts, pecans, beef jerky, all good options for snacks. You'll find that you're snacking less with keto, okay? And then there's also a brand called Lily's, and they make really good like chocolate sweets for keto people. So Lily's dark chocolate and Lily's milk chocolate. I love their salted almond one and their salted caramel, so I love those. Again, just turn that label around and calculate what those net carbs would be to see if you could have it or not. Just things to avoid: potatoes, sugar, rice, so on and so forth. And then again, I add pink Himalayan salt and electrolytes to things. I use that to avoid the keto flu. So what I'd like to do is really quick to kind of end this off, and I will take questions as well, is I just want to see, I want to hear from each of you, like what's a favorite comfort food you have? And let's talk about how we could do an alternative and make it keto. So who would like to start first?
Pasta.
Pasta. Okay, Jen says pasta. So there's actually noodles that you can make with egg and cheese. And so you melt the cheese up and then you mix the egg in and then you can roll them into noodles of your own and boil them really quickly to cook them. So that's an option. The other option is zucchini noodles. So again, spiralizing those zucchini. I make a zucchini noodle, chicken noodle Alfredo. Oh my God, it's so good. I spiralize the zucchini. I take cream cheese and heavy cream, add pink Himalayan salt and garlic, and that's the Alfredo. And then I just add the chicken. So I have the chicken, the cream, and I recommend when you're making zucchini noodles, guys, don't cook them too long. So I make like the chicken and the sauce first, and then I throw the new zucchini noodles in last minute for like a minute. And I like them like a little bit firm. Otherwise, they get kind of watery and like limp and yucky. So that's kind of my alternative. There are also some noodles you can buy online that are already pre-made and keto friendly. So I'd have to look it up to see what it is, but I've seen them on Amazon. I can't remember what they're called. Okay, who wanted to go next?
Me. I'm just like a sugar junkie. Anything that's got sugar, cakes,
Okay.
chocolate, sweeties, anything.
Yes. Okay. So my keto blueberry muffins are delicious. So those
Well,
are really.
I was going to make that, but over in Scotland, we're finding it hard to get that flour that you guys use. We can't find that anywhere.
You can't find almond flour? Okay, try ordering it on Amazon.
Right.
Try that. Because almond, and I do get mine at Costco, and anytime you can go to like a wholesaler type place, it's always best because you're going to get a bigger bag for like the same price you would get a smaller. But try Amazon right now. Try that. And you can make your own almond flour by grinding almonds through a food processor. So if you can find a big bag of almonds, that might be an option. Just go online and search how to make almond flour, and you just put it through a food processor. The other thing is that keto whipped cream is really good, and mug cake. Keto mug cake is so good. Just search it. And you can mix in cocoa powder, unsweetened cocoa powder to make it chocolate. You can add the whipped cream on top. Sometimes what I do with my morning coffee is I'll take that keto whipped cream and put that on top because it's like having like hot cocoa. I don't know, it's so good. I'll post a bunch more recipes. Do you guys know how to access the recipe album in the group?
I do not.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen and show you. I'll show you from a phone and from a desktop. So let's say we're here and we go to the spray group. Maybe if my internet gets slow when I'm live streaming, so bear with me. I'll put a bunch of recipes in here too. So spray your way. So you click into the group and you go to where it says photos. If you go here and you go to albums, we have a recipe album and we also have the workout album. So you can find replays of the workouts here. I'm almost done, baby. And you can also go back and you can find recipes here. So I'll put more in here. I did put my blueberry muffin recipe in there, but there's a lot of options in there. They're not all keto, so just heads up. But if I post it, it's gonna be keto. So those are an option as well. And then from a phone, it's just at the top of the page. You guys need to go. I'm almost done, 5 more minutes. You're gonna take that one, Reese? Okay. Okay. So from your phone, if you click here and you go to your groups, It will usually be up here somewhere, or you can search on the search bar, but mine's also showing right there. So then right there you would go to either albums or photos. So albums, recipes, that's how you get it from your phone. Okay, so what's another comfort food?
See, mine is just Mexican anything, nachos, but you kind of went over the nacho recipe. But I will literally wake up in the morning craving burritos and nachos.
Yes. So there's also this wrap at Costco, if you're in the States, called a folio wrap. And it's made out of Parmesan cheese. And so like I love tortillas. And so I use that to make like sandwich wraps or tacos or breakfast burritos.
Yes, that's what I need.
Yeah, and then you can also sometimes find almond flour tortillas. But on taco night, I shred some cheese. I put it on wax paper in like, so the cheese is like in a circle, and I bake it. And it becomes crispy, and you can make it like a tostada, or you can bend it as soon as you take it out and let it kind of dry. Like I'll put it over like a fork, and it like in the mid part, and it becomes a
Makes an actual taco shell.
Yes, it's so good.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll have to try that.
and so you can have your tacos. All the meat is fine, you know, the avocado, cilantro. I mean, we go to town with those. It's so good. And it doesn't really take that long to make them. It's just like if you're shredding the cheese, that's hard. So, anyone else have any like favorite comfort foods that they want to try to make keto?
I've actually been doing keto, but my question is, what about like spaghetti squash?
Spaghetti squash is actually kind of high in starch. So let's look it up here. I mean, it's still lower carb, but oops, stop share. But it's not really, like it's actually got some sugars in it. So spaghetti squash nutritional label. And so I'm gonna go to images just because I like the way those look. Okay, so if you see, it's 10 grams of carbohydrate for just 1 cup. And 2.2 grams. So you could do it, but you'd really have to limit it. I mean, I know when I eat that spaghetti squash, I'm not eating just 1 cup. Like,
well, I make it into like a baked ziti. You know, I add the ricotta and mozzarella and sauce and stuff and meat, like either hamburger or sausage, and then I bake it. So it's almost like a big ziti, but
you would just have to limit it. Yeah, you can. What some people do is they make a lasagna out of zucchini, so they slice it really thin, and then roll it up into with the meat and all of that in there. I've also seen where people take lunch meat, like a piece of chicken. Maria Emmerich does that, and she puts the ground beef and the cheese all in there and wraps that and then bakes it with sauce over the top.
Oh, that's cool. And what about red peppers as opposed to green peppers? Is there a difference?
Yeah, I think so. We can look. Red pepper. Okay, so a red pepper is 6 grams of carbohydrates for 1 whole medium pepper with 2 grams of fiber. So the net carb would be 4 on that. Whereas if we're doing green, I don't think it's extremely different, but we'll see. Yeah, it's about the same.
That's the same. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Could be, well, I could be wrong. I could be 10. Yeah, it really just depends how, it looks all about approximately the same.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions? So I would just really get to, like, if you're wanting to do it, just start tracking those net carbs. Don't worry too much about it. If and when you're ready to go really like deep into it, I'll show you the app that I use. I like to track my stuff in the beginning just to see like how I'm doing and get back on track. But after that, I usually don't track too much. Like if I was gonna go on a bikini competition, that'd be different. But so I use this app called Carb Manager. It's right here, the one with the little M type looking thing, Carb Manager, and it'll set it up for you. And I just use the free version, but you can track what you ate for the day. So you just track in there. You can even scan. So like I could scan a label of something I'm trying to see anything that has like a Q. I don't have anything nearby that I could scan, but, or you can just search food like red pepper, that sort of a thing. Okay. And what I do is I look at my graph to see if I'm like within the thing. So that's an option once you really want to get into it, but to keep it simple, you know, just track your net carbs to begin with. So on any other questions, comments, concerns, I'll make sure to put some more recipes in the recipe album for you guys. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for being on with me. You know, that was a lot of information.
Thanks, Melissa. That was great.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.